What the hell?
This is MoYu's actual flagship cube, the MoYu WeiLong WRM V9. That's kind of a mouthful. And, well, since this is named the WeiLong WRM V9, let's count how many versions of the WeiLong there is right now. So we got the original WeiLong, the WeiLong V2, the WeiLong GTS, the WeiLong GTS 2, the WeiLong GTS 3, the Worm, and the Worm 2020, the Worm 2021, and the Worm V9, which is the cube we're talking about today. So this is obviously the 9th cube in MoYu's WeiLong lineup, and is also probably the most expensive out of this one. Not just for this version, but in terms of all of the versions that this cube has. So the standard version is $19, the maglev version is $26, and the ball core UV coated version is $43. In terms of feel, like it feels unlike the other WeiLong I have, the Worm 2021. While that one has like a soft feel, at least to me, and quiet, this is a lot more louder and more clackier. Like, it also kind of reminds me of a GAN 13. It has a feeling that kind of reminds me of a modern GAN cube. So out of the box, the turning was way too fast. I think it was like way too fast to where I could literally accidentally turn things I did not want to turn. Like when I just do this, I would sometimes end up turning the back layer, or even maybe like some of the slice layers or some other random layer that I don't want to turn. But after setting it up by putting Weight 5, Mystic, and Silk, it was actually pretty good, although it was still really fast. Like, it was a lot more controllable than it was before, and after I changed it to 3 clicks, it's honestly pretty good right now. It's like at a good speed and I can control it. And yeah, let's talk about the features. So it has corner to core magnets like the past few MoYu cubes now with the ball core, and like the GAN 13, it has those edge repelling magnets, which adds up to the auto aligning a bit, kind of like with the GAN 13. But ironically, it actually does align a lot better than the GAN 13's auto aligning system. I can't test that right now because I lost my GAN 13, but from the footage I have of it, the one on the GAN 13 is clearly not as auto aligning as this cube is. It also has your typical magnets, like your normal corner edge magnets, and just stuff that you would expect from normal cubes. And this version, the ball core version, has the UV coating, while the other 2 versions, the standard and maglev, don't have the UV coating and they just have a matte finish. And I actually kind of like this better than those finishes. So corner cutting, it's pretty good. I think it's definitely what you expect from most cubes. Like, it can do 45 degrees, everything's smaller, it's pretty easy. And reverse corner cutting is about as good as most other cubes. Like here where I'm doing it right now, it just stops. But overall, it's pretty good. It's what you expect from most cubes today. The outer coating is honestly also like really good. Like, it actually does feel a bit more grippy, and although I did comment about how on the GAN 13 I did say it felt a lot more like some more glossy plastic cube, I can definitely feel that it's like much more grippy than normal glossy plastic. And I think it actually definitely just feels so much better than like the frosted plastic and the sort of worn out finish on my YS3M, so I definitely like that better. And it does have a printed on logo, so you might need to buy like a separate center cap if you want to use it as a blindfolded mate. This cube has 3 versions: the standard, the maglev, and the ball core UV coated version. And I kind of feel like that's a bit of a problem because within the past few months, I think like 6 or 7 months, MoYu has been on top of releasing a bunch of cubes in a short period of time. And within the past 6 months, we got the Super RS3M, the Huameng YS3M, and this cube. And those all come with different versions, with the YS3M having the absolute most versions with 4 versions. And I feel like with all of those cubes being released within a short period of time, I kind of feel like it makes it a bit difficult to pick which one to buy, especially since that like there are just so many different versions, and some of which barely make a difference. Like, no, there is a difference between the standard and maglev versions, but I honestly highly doubt that like it would be a really meaningful difference between those, except for like no spring noise or whatever. So I feel like it would just be a better idea to either just like ditch the maglev version or the standard version and make the higher end version cheaper, so there aren't 3 different versions. And especially since most cubes today are really good and it's just mainly personal preference, I think it would be better to clean up the lineup and have a better set of options of cubes to pick. So for the customization system, if you take the center cap off, it basically has the normal system you would see
ever since the GTS 3, and I feel like it does need to be updated a bit, but at the same time, there's also the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and if it's been working well for quite a long time now, then they really don't need to do anything. But I kind of also feel like they should also make a hand adjustable system like how the Tornado V3 has it, or maybe even like how the MGC Evo had it before too, or I think it was I don't know if it was the Elite or the Evo. Like the other two MoYu releases before that, it doesn't have adjustable magnets again either. Honestly, for me, it's not really a problem. Like, I'm okay with the magnet strength, but for the people that do actually adjust magnets on the cube, or feel like if the magnets are way too strong, like how I think some people did say about the YS3M and also probably about this cube, I feel like it's better to have it there so you have the option of changing the magnet strength on the cube, and especially for this price, I feel like it should also have adjustable magnets.
Okay, so before I get into my final thoughts on this cube, I'm gonna actually mention that in my last video, I actually used this cube as one of the cubes to make that kind of primitive mosaic, and it actually kind of worked well for it, although like all of the cubes are different sizes. So that's that, but now I think it's time to get into my final thoughts. So I've been using the WeiLong WRM V9 for about 2 weeks now, and I'm honestly really happy with it. I switched to it as my main cube, although I kind of wish I didn't switch to it this soon, considering how the YS3M was released like more than a month ago, and how I said really good things about that cube. And for this cube to come out, it made it really complicated to figure out what I think about both cubes, but since then, most of my other cubes feel really slow and unusable after using this cube. Out of the box, it was really fast and uncontrollable, and I ended up turning layers I didn't intend to turn, but after setting it up and setting the compression to 3 clicks, it became more controllable, and I actually didn't end up turning layers I didn't want to, or corner twist that much. It does the things that I needed to do, and it doesn't feel like I'm being held back a bit, like how it felt using the YS3M sometimes. Would I recommend this cube? For most people, I don't recommend it. Rather, I would recommend either the RS3M Super or the YS3M Standard version, and if you really need a magnetic core, then get the YS3M Ball core, especially since that it has a little bit of auto lining, but not as extensive as this cube, and especially since I feel like the auto alignment in general is just a gimmick, especially since when you're turning fast you don't really notice it. I would really only recommend this if you want something that has similar features to the GAN 13 and somewhat of a similar feel. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing for the comparison video I'm gonna probably make on this after, and other type of content I decide to make here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.